7th, 2014. It's 9:30 a.m. Make note that this meeting has been posted in the manner and for the time required, that all members of the court are present. If it's convenient for you, please stand. I believe this is
Let's pray. Father, we just come to you today thanking you, Father, for another day and many blessings. Father, we want to thank you for the rain that you had sent our way and that you're about to, Lord. Father, we just ask that you be with us today, Lord, as we make decisions, Father. I just pray, Lord, that you lead, guide, and direct us in all those, all that we say and all that we do. I pray, Father, that you be with the Shepherd family today, Lord, and the lost, Lord. I just ask that you just comfort them at this time. Lord, I ask you to just go with us and guide and direct us. Forgive us we fail you. Just in the precious name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the Texas flag.
I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you very much. Please be seated. Okay. Item number 3, public comments and announcements and presentations. I have one note here on my agenda. Lawton Carlton, yes, sir. If you'd like to introduce yourself and present your card to some of these commissioners.
Okay, my name's Lawton Carlson. I'm a new sales rep for Wright Asphalt Products Company. We produce a power rubber modified asphalt seal liquid. And we are building a facility in Brown, Texas. We will offer cutback liquids, emulsion primers, and emulsions. I just want to come by. Wasn't sure how you guys did your maintenance program, if you did it yourself, and I found out that possibly somebody else does that. I just want to come by and introduce myself, and I guess I'll leave my card.
Please leave your card there, and if you wish to stay around for a while,
Okay.
you might be able to visit with some of these guys after a while.
Okay.
Twist their arm a little bit.
All right, do that.
Do y'all take in the used tires and remanufacture?
We purchased it from a recycler.
Okay.
I got where you were going on that.
I know where I'm.
Who's that recycler?
Yeah.
You just got it in the middle of here?
Okay.
Sure. I'm waiting. We need to make a tire policy.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Carlton, come and introduce yourself. Appreciate it. Okay, the next,
Can I say something?
yeah, you bet.
Mr. Miller, I know that your retirement party is today and stuff, and I was just going to say thank you for your service with us, and we appreciate you.
Thank you.
That's it.
No, that's coming on at 2 o'clock this afternoon. Everybody's invited. Mr. Miller's going to wander large off the Rhode Island. Will he see fishing?
Well, I don't think we'll fish much. We'll be, 41-foot sailboat. We'll be sailing out to Bermuda, towards the end of the week. If the weather cooperates. And, then after a few days in Bermuda, we'll sail over to the British Virgin Islands. Spend a day or two over there, and then I guess I won't have any choice but to fly home.
How many days out? What's the expected
I
schedule?
should be back home in about 3 weeks, so could be a little longer, depends on what the weather does.
Mm. Well, all's invited to the little gathering this afternoon, 2 o'clock. Please come. All gives welcome.
I'll be there.
Okay, next point that I have here on the public comments and announcements is that I don't think all of you know, but some of you know that Marcia Sumter has announced her retirement to be effective, I believe, the 30th of this month. Going to be a little reception here on from 4 to 5 p.m. on Thursday, the 30th. All gifts welcome there as well.
Well, I'm not getting to go on any long trips like that. I'm just
You're going
taking
to
my poor little mother with dementia on a few little short excursions.
I think Marcia's been with Young County for 26 plus years.
Well, actually, I started October 21st of 1986, but the first 14 months I worked full-time with no benefits, so actually, officially 26 and 9 months,
26 years.
but actually 28 years.
Well,
So,
she's been a good dedicated employee.
thank you.
I'll miss you. And you started when I was still in high school.
Hey.
You didn't have to.
Yeah, someone asked me over the weekend, I said, in 86, they go, I wasn't even born in 86. Oh.
There's probably just one or two other employees that has any time longer than Marcia.
Nancy, actually,
Excuse me,
Nancy.
Nancy Thomas, the only employee that has served longer.
Yeah, then Larry's right behind me pretty close.
So please come to her little reception on the 30th, 4 p.m. And I'm sure all gifts are welcome.
Cash.
Okay, yeah.
Marcia, I admire the job you've done. Being here the last 2 years has really opened my eyes to how tenacious you are about our finances in the county. First off, how dedicated you are to your job. You and I have been friends an awful long time. And you've got a great many talents.
Well, thank
And I
you.
appreciate it. Enjoy retirement.
Oh, I'm gonna try.
Anybody else?
Yeah, Joe retirement, not many of us get to do that.
Well, I've been working at this a long time to get to this point.
Sure,
It's gonna be some tall shoes to fill. Okay, she's gone far and above and beyond what, pretty good.
Marcia performs a kind of a special function in that office. That not very many people are aware of the technical aspect of it, but it's takes a little years of experience and training to be able to get your arms around that. I think we started our addressing process probably about 1992.
Yeah, I wasn't part of it at that point. I didn't join it till a few years later, but yes.
But it's just something that not many of us really know or understand. So that's a little special. We appreciate Marcia and everybody. Please come to her reception.
Could do without a member.
Thank you. Thank you.
And along with that line, if has anybody got any other announcements? If please the court will jump down to item number 8. And we'll, Marcia has a part-time employee that worked for quite a long time, Julie Acree, and she has retired, I don't know, a month or two ago. And Marcia brought in Rebecca Reagan to fill those part-time shoes and to learn the process. And item number 8 is to consider the appointment of Rebecca Reagan as Young County 911 Addressing Coordinator to be effective November the 3rd, 2014, which will be a week from today. Do we have any discussion there?
I think she'll do a good job. She's moving in just like Marcia did when Marcia moved in. Marcia came from the sheriff's office and dealt with 911 and all this stuff. I think Rebecca will fill in just fine. I think it's a good appointment.
Rebecca's been dispatcher, one of the main dispatchers for Jack County for how many years, Rebecca?
I've just been there for almost 4. But she does have 17 years experience with an advanced
Yeah, I
certification.
think she's also been here in Young County before as a
Yes.
dispatcher also.
I was
She
almost
understands
17.
dispatch service, and she's picked up the applications that are relevant down in Marshall's office. Marcia's also dedicated her extra time to come in and help out where there might be some trouble grasping certain aspects and circumstances that Rebecca will be responsible for. So with that, I'll move that we approve. Excuse me,
What are the financial considerations in regards to her?
Well, probably that's something that needs to be, could need to be considered, you know. I think that, what's that thing?
So I just asked for a budget.
Is that what you're scrambling around about?
That's for my budget. I should have had that written down.
Rebecca does come in with some 911 knowledge. She worked for Dallas County Sheriff's Department for a few years, and they also put her in the position of 911 public education in schools. So she's not coming in not understanding the whole concept and everything. So
I understand, we don't want to diminish the job you've done either.
no, we don't.
You know, you have some value that.
I've been a teacher. She's people learning.
Are we gonna continue with 4 days a week or have 5 days a week?
Excuse me. I said we just keep it as is. Why beat it down? It's working just fine.
The cool thing about it right now is all the contractors and everybody right now are already acclimated to the way it is running at this point.
The septic installers would like to be able to come in early and pick up applications and knock their stuff and not wait till 8:30 in the morning. So, and that's primarily a lot of why we've done this, to make it user-friendly for the working people, because 8:30 sometimes just doesn't work for the men that's waiting on the job, to get out on the job and has their crew.
So the hours are 7:30 to 5:30?
7 o'clock to 5.
7 to 5.
We work the same amount of hours as the other courthouse employees.
Basically works the commissioner's schedule.
Same as commissioner's schedule.
And it really does work a lot better. It's tried and true, and they do appreciate it.
5:30. We work till 5:30.
She only get,
She said 5.
Well, I worked at 5. I worked the same amount of hours the other courthouse employees work. For years, I worked 40 hours, and I was told that why did I do that? The rest of the people didn't work 40 hours. So I was like,
Ours have been at 8:30, they work 8:30 to 5. So.
There's been a few occasions that I've had, there have been people that have come in on Friday requested an address or permit or something like that.
and I have came in if I needed to meet them here. I've always been available. But in the addressing, we usually, you know, if you live in a big place, it's because they say it's 5 working days. I try to never go more than 2 working days. So, you know, I haven't had it in the number of years. Most everybody knows the hours. The DL office knows those hours. The city knows those hours. So, I mean, it's been very few occasions. But I've always said if an installer needs to meet me here on Friday, I have been here on Friday and met him. I don't mind. You know, I'm sure she would.
Normally,
say,
in an appointed position like we have, or the initial hiring comes in at some portion underneath the approved salary. What's that salary?
Okay, the current salary, the salary is $31,989 a year. She also gets a car allowance of $8,000 and a cell phone allowance of $800.
Excuse me?
That's a total of near 40.
Yeah, well, you know, car allowance, will be separate items, cell phone be a separate item, probably normally just looking at the salary, and if you want to start at the top level or something underneath that top level as it relates to an annual pay. Actually, everything's going to be paid by the hour if it comes down to a contest, but we usually look at these positions in the context of an annual salary.
So this has nothing to do with people's names, personalities, or anything. I hate to start a new employee off. We're a 28-year employee.
Well,
And work their way too.
I can appreciate that. This position was created underneath the Commissioner's Court, and that the body of the court is the director. We don't have any specific government supervisor to answer to. So whenever there's a question or something that needs to be discussed with regard to that office, it's the full body of the court that makes that call, makes those decisions.
We thinking of 30?
Or suggestions.
Just 30,
30.
that's fine with me.
30, that's what, $1,000 less than monthly?
Basically 2,000.
19.
Bumping right at 32,
1989.
1989 or 999. I'm good with 30.
Salary moves every often. If
Do this last year.
You can see how
Depends on revenues and.
you can just see how she's catching on and she's
Yeah,
just
you're using like 6
over
months.
the top, just moving all the way.
Is that what you're suggesting, like an evaluation period, 3 months, 6 months?
3 months, something like that, yeah. 3-month intervals moving to
Oh, what's her paying period?
31.
31.8.
Oh, yeah. Just part-time.
She's-
Well,
Oh, yeah, all part-time is 12.
Well, she pays her 12.
Will there, let's see, what would we left as a part-time line?
We haven't used very much of it. It's just, it's a new budget, so
So there'll be part-time
there'll be
work.
part-time available.
With the 30, that's $14.42 an hour if you break it down like that. So
But you're gonna be coming back, donating all your time?
I will help her as much as she needs help, yes.
it's available by phone 24/7.
Marcia ain't gonna mess that retirement.
Okay,
Yeah, it'd be 3 months.
are there any different suggestions?
I'm the one who's bringing the merit raises.
Okay. Merit raise up to certain, I guess.
Let's see what your work is.
Okay, I'll adjust my motion to, say that we, I move that we appoint Rebecca Reagan as Young County 911 addressing coordinator, beginning at $30,000 annual pay, expressed as an annual pay, to be divided up among 26 several pay periods. And that raise is considered after 3 months.
You had brought up a point while we were doing the budget about mileage allowances and how many miles actually driven. Is that something you might have made for keep for the first 30 days, 90 days, 180 days?
I say you don't touch it.
Well, at this
Just
time,
budgeted.
you know, if there's going to be any changes there in regard to that, I guess they should be talked about it now. But you know, I think we all need to be verifying our mileage. We haven't been doing that so far, so leave that up to y'all.
In her case, probably she's gonna probably call, it's gonna probably take her more to get acclimated with lots of the areas than it is with Marcia, because she's used to it.
Well, and
Which would
also,
be a good number to be.
what also is coming up the road audit for the year, so she's gonna be putting in a lot of mileage. I might say this, and I'm not here to hurt any feelings by any stretch of the imagination or anything stand up, but I don't think 8,000 is out of line. When we gave it, Eric, and I'm not trying to throw you under the bus, Eric 5, we drove last week more than what Eric drives in a whole month. So having said that, I don't think 8,000 is out of line at all. She got a hard year ahead of her. She can
I
put
think
it,
that probably Eric's situation was where you brought up
well, Eric gets paid when he goes out of county at a different mileage rate,
it
so.
just seems like sometimes the mileage is there to boost the salary.
Well, that's actually what an allowance is. Almost all aspects of the allowance are going to be calculated into the salary, and everything except, what is sheriff, workers' comp? Is that the only thing, workers' comp, or it doesn't get calculated into
Everything, what,
Yeah.
yeah,
salary allowance?
everything gets,
Car allowance.
for tax purposes.
Yeah.
It's everything, cell phone,
Retirement.
I
retirement.
know that, but I'm talking about the payroll deductions, the workers' comp, or the
Unemployment.
unemployment is the one thing that does not come out of it. That's the only thing that doesn't come out of the car allowance.
Well, it's,
Yeah, it does.
but it's our county side
Yeah,
that
it's
we
county
pay,
side.
we pay, the county pays on that.
Yeah,
But
that
it's
doesn't
not
come out of the.
so
employees' side.
minimal.
Well, she certainly will be using a lot, I mean, she's gonna have a hard year ahead of her. And she and I've talked about this in great deal, she's gonna be putting a lot of miles.
I'll leave my motion as stated, without any reference to
I'll say,
car allowance.
second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to appoint Rebecca Reagan as Young County 911 at-risk coordinator to begin service in that position November the 3rd, Monday, November the 3rd, 2014, at a salary calculated as $30,000 annual pay to be divided up equally into 26 people pay periods. Second by Commissioner Pruitt. All in favor of that? Carried 5-0. Welcome aboard, Rebecca.
Thank you very much.
You want to have a speech
Do
then?
your take.
Do I?
You want a speech then?
Thank you.
How does she do it, corporate written?
And Judge, if I could just a letter from you stating that, I mean, I need help with me to just something for her file.
We're granting authority to issue that letter. Okay, very well. Item number 4, consider county clerk minutes from the previous meeting, October 14th, 2014. Are there any additions, corrections, or deletions?
I didn't see you, right?
Only one mention to the clerk on item 3. She just added a notation, early voting would be in the only library.
Okay.
Well, we better not change that library thing. We're back to the courthouse.
I've heard,
I'm getting chewed up by the public.
well, the reason they moved there was because of the spatial issues. The room, there wasn't long enough room down there to carry on functions of the office and where to go to.
I sent a joke on
You know, had it been this way with this court going on, it would have been a good thing, no market.
Then item number 8. It should probably say, Mike Sykes moved to pay request for reimbursement. It says pay, Mike Sykes moved to request for reimbursement.
Typo kind of thing.
Yeah, typo kind of thing.
Okay, let's get a motion to approve those with added notation and
Those
typographical correction.
with those corrections, move to accept.
Second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Rogers and a second by Commissioner Sykes to approve the minutes as corrected. All in favor? Carried 5-0. Okay, can we divert a little bit? With the pleasure of the court, we'll move down to item number 9. Consider extending time for application for bail out attendance and other matters. Mr. Norman Hall here wants to address that, I believe, if you will, Norman.
I think I'm gonna sit here just in case I get a picture taken, everybody else back.
I got it.
Or maybe I can move when I talk. We met on October the 16th, and we got 14 applications. And after the committee met, some of those applications were tossed out because they did not meet the criteria of the job description. One of the things we chose to do this time, if you'll remember, is we chose that what we would do when we got the applications, we'd go ahead and get the driver's license, and then we could go ahead and pre-screen those. And what I chose to do is I chose as committee chair to ask the auditor not to place that information on our applications. And the reason being is, we want to have complete control of those applications, but committee members have those applications. And so what we chose to do is that after we discarded some of those applications, I came back to the county auditor's office and then asked about the applications that we had left. And some of those, depending on our next committee meeting, some of those will probably be discarded as well, simply because of the process of the pre-screening. The committee wants to know if the Commissioners Court is interested in allowing us to extend the application process. Now, that's not to say that some of the applications we have couldn't potentially be the next caretaker. It's just that our pool is going to be smaller. And we think that that's a potential process or a potential possibility.
Well, eventually your pool's going to be there at that point anyway.
That's correct.
Are you saying you cannot find a person in this pool you have now?
May I help with that, Norm? Me and Norman talked, and because, we've been going through this process together, and it's not that any of the applicants aren't really bad. I mean, they're all good applicants, trying to be right. But we want to make sure, we want to get a bigger pool, and to make sure when we pick this person, we're not doing this next year again.
Sure, choices
You know what I'm saying? And if it takes another couple of months to do this process, even though these are caretakers will be gone, we still want to pick the right one.
So you're saying if possible, you'd like to improve it?
That's correct. Right, that's correct. Well, and the committee talked about this as well. James and Judy Mitchell retired 2 years ago. It would be May of 2015. And we don't want to do this process again in 18 more months because we just don't want to do it. In fact, some of the committee members expressed that very clearly. I think some of it, in my opinion, and the opinion of the committee, some of the things we would like to suggest to the Commissioners Court are some changes on the job description. One of those being, right now, Commissioners Court has Wednesday as the day off. It's the full day off. We think it would be more appropriate to be Monday. Monday is the slowest day at Fort Belknap during any time of the week. Now, we understand there's problems with that because if you have a reunion that goes through, let's say, noon on Sunday, it's going to be hard to clean up, things like that. But Wednesday is kind of tough, right in the middle of the week. Doesn't give you a lot of options. Something else we wanted to recommend that you consider is maybe a weekend off a month. One of the things bad about Fort Belknap is that when there's reunions, it's busy. But in the wintertime, I've been to Fort Belknap in the wintertime and gone by to see the caretakers, both sets of caretakers, and said, well, it's been a busy week. Haven't seen anybody all week long. And so, I don't know about all county employees, but I would assume that county employees get off Saturdays and Sundays. The only people that that's an exception with is county deputies and things like that. But the caretakers really ought to have one weekend off a month that they can be away. And if Monday was a closeout day, then that would be at least a 3-day weekend every once in a while. Something else that the committee wanted to ask if the Commissioners Court would be open to is, the rules. That's something else we need to talk about for a minute. I visited with both caretakers, both groups of caretakers, and we have some rules up on Fort Belknap set by the Commissioners Court, and one of those is that there will be no alcoholic beverages up on the courthouse grounds. And here's the deal. If that's going to be a rule, then there has to be some teeth behind it. Commissioners Court has to support that rule. County Sheriff, county deputies have to support that rule, and both caretakers have said to the committee that that hasn't always been done. They're caretakers. They're not trained law enforcement individuals. And both caretakers have said they've gone to reunions, and people have alcoholic beverages up on the grounds, and they told them the rules are you can't have alcoholic beverages on the ground, and that's it. There doesn't seem to be any respect for that. Or I know on the Mitchell's standpoint, they called the county sheriff. County deputy came out, his family members, and the reunion, and pretty much just said, put your stuff in red Dixie cups or hide it or something like that. But that's just one isolated incident. But still, both caretakers said that we're going to have rules up on Fort Belknap grounds, and they need to be enforced. In my opinion, the increases in the fees for Fort Belknap is appropriate. You're not going to find another place to meet in the area that inexpensive. But on the other hand, I understand that you don't want to run people off from being able to use Fort Belknap as a reunion ground facility as well. Those are some of the things that the committee wanted to know if you as commissioners would be open. That's something that you would have interest in. And I didn't realize I was going to listen to a response from the paper shredder.
That's the clock winding.
Oh, the clock, I should have known. But one thing I might mention to you, the committee just wants to see if that's some things that you would be open to. One of the issues continues to be and always will be that Fort Belknap, as we've had this discussion before, either it's going to be a reunion or it's going to be historical purposes. And Fort Belknap is what I would consider to be a treasure of Young County, and that's one of the things that I would encourage all four of the commissioners and the county judge to, maybe go out to Fort Belknap maybe once a month or once every other month. I know you guys are busy like I'm busy, and but after all, you're the caretakers of Fort Belknap. Fort Belknap Society's gone; it doesn't exist anymore. And so, if it's not for the county commissioners court and the county judge, unless a group of concerned citizens from Young County step up and say, hey, we want to be involved with this. You five men are the men that are entrusted to the longevity of Fort Belknap.
With regard to those rules, they are approved by the Commissioners Court, but those rules were submitted to the Commissioners Court by the Fort Belknap Society.
Right. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
They've been altered very, very little, I guess, in the last 40 years, 50 years.
Well, and it may be, in our opinion, and we understand the Fort Belknap Society's position, but it may be, in my opinion, that County Commissioners Court might want to look back at those, those rules and regulations.
Would you have a recommendation regarding alcohol in the park?
Oh yeah, I had all kinds of recommendations, but
We would need feedback to make changes.
Well, it's one of those things, I think it's like anything else, we have rules up there that there'll be no metal detecting up there. That's another example of a rule. But, to be honest with you, I think it's just something that the Commissioners Court has to look at and decide, are these rules that were set by the Fort Belknap Society, which is now a defunct society, does no longer exist, are those rules still pertinent for the 21st century? Something else that I might point out is that when the caretaker's position was created back in the 60s, times are different now than they were in the 1960s when Mr. Whiteley did it. He was retired full-time, he had plenty of time to do that, and he was keenly interested in the history of Young County because he grew up in Young County. If you grew up in Young County, then you have a particular persuasion toward Fort Belknap. If you've never been here but you want a job, it takes some time to learn maybe all you need to know about Fort Belknap in those areas. But
Something else we might discuss up here and want to talk about was the sheriff's office mowing the cemetery out there. Ken could set that up.
well, we talked about that. I talked about it with both caretakers. And here's what the caretakers said. That in the past, sometimes when the sheriff's office does Fort Belknap, they may not have the same kind of concern and care for the tombstones at Fort Belknap as maybe the caretaker does. Because they said in times past when the sheriff's department's employees would go out there and mow, that they might hit the stones and just toss those to the side or up against the tree. And the more I thought about it, the more I thought that maybe the caretaker, that ought to be something that they ought to retain.
The sheriff's office probably mows 95%.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So you think that has to go.
Well, you know, Fort Belknap Cemetery is a duck all of its own because there's no one in charge of Fort Belknap Cemetery. You know, no one knows where, you know, there's an old plat map from 47, but, you know, like for instance, as an example, the fence is falling down, so the cows are getting in, they're knocking down the tombstones, but, you know, I'm just telling you, no one is in charge of Fort Belknap Cemetery. There's no caretaker of it unless it's going to be, you know, the county or somebody, you know. I mean,
Well, I also might want to use them though whenever
oh yeah,
these people leave. And
Right.
Have anybody mow the
Sure,
grounds out
sure.
there, you know?
well, I was going to say, you know, I think a lot of the problems with those limbs and everything else, not only the cemetery grounds, but also the Fort Belknap grounds. I mean, it's just, it is what it is. I mean, you know.
Question, is there any possibility of, we'll talk about all of this and respective days off and maybe a weekend, a month off, those kinds of things, where there be any prospect of volunteers with regard to the historical commission or anything like that to man that in some of those off times?
Well, I would say, you know, when the historical commission comes back and, you know, they're kind of defunct now too.
Well, they're not reorganized.
Yeah, I know they're trying to reorganize. And, you know, that'd be a great possibility as far as I'm concerned. You know, if the Young County Historical Commission would be involved. And at one time, they were involved with Fort Belknap to a big degree. You know, that was back in the days of Fort Belknap Society, and you know, Fort Belknap Society and Young County Historical Commission kept doing this during the 80s. Who's going to be in charge and stuff like that? Welcome to history.
Would it be possible to have those days off be in a seasonal mode?
I think so.
December, January, February, maybe get
Yeah.
even 2 weekends.
You know,
And then in May, June, July, have them there all the time.
and to be honest with you, that's kind of what the committee wanted to know, because wintertime, not so much people there. And we just feel like that would be an incentive, because in the winter months is the time that it's so isolated for the caretaker. Especially if, you know, both husband and wife have to be up there on the Belknap grounds. You know, I went last week, and you know, no one was there. I mean, no one was there. And so, yeah, I mean, I think, in my opinion, if you know, as Commissioner's Court wanted to give, in those winter months when there's nothing going on, 2 weekends a month, I mean, I think that'd be fine. I think that'd be appropriate. You know, we have this really unusual situation at Fort Belknap in that there are people who live around that circle around Fort Belknap. And most of them, the only thing they have to do with their life during the day is watch Fort Belknap. And I don't mean that disrespectfully, because I know that if I go up on the Fort Belknap grounds, I'll have 2 or 3 people call me or send me a note and say, hey, I saw you up on the grounds today. What in the world were you doing up there? And I'm thinking, oh, wow, this is better than, you know, 24-hour-a-day monitoring. You know, the Mitchells live across the road, you know, the same thing. And, you know, that's why, as a committee, you know, Judy Mitchell's on our committee. So as a committee, we don't feel that sense of urgency to have someone hired by November the 1st. And we would like to widen the pool if that's something that you guys would be open to, simply because James and Judy Mitchell live across the street, and they can see the fort for that matter. Now, that's not to say that somebody can't break in the commissary and steal all the guns, or can't break in some other areas and steal those things. That's not to say that's not possible. It's
So
just
that neighborhood watch equivalent.
right, yeah. It's just that, you know, it's just that we would like to see, if you guys are open to it, maybe extending it a little bit longer so we can widen it out.
I agree with what Norman's saying. Even if we have to pay a little extra money to put it in a Fort Worth paper or, you know, Wichita Falls paper, whatever, even if we have to do that, oh, well, so be it. We won't have to revisit this in a year.
Well, that was one of the primary considerations of the Possum Hill rest stop back they made in the past few years, was to greet those people from out of town and give them a little support history while they were there in order to encourage them to bring, to come back.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And some of the people are very enthralled with the history that occurred there.
Oh, yeah.
We probably need some historical markers and plaques there on the, so they can, at least if the caretakers aren't there, they can read some of the history of the Florida.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I think that's true. You know, I mean, there's a ton of those markers up on the grounds.
Right, a lot of people just drive through the.
Sure. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Never stop if there was a market there, but I'd like to bring this before the Commissioner's Court. At current time, Young County does not have a hotel motel occupancy tax. The city does, but the county does not. Would it be possible we could consider having a hotel motel tax and use it for the benefit of maintaining the upkeep of it?
I don't think there's any left. I don't think there's any provision. I think that it's all taken up.
Well, the way I was reading it, that the county's portion was separate and above what the city
I
held.
believe there's a total amount possible. I think that it's all taken up.
Could we investigate that?
Yeah, we can.
Find certain, because that would be another way to get a revenue source for the court. It would certainly go into the vein of tourism and getting heads and beds. And
A number of years ago, we discussed that very issue. And there was a quarter of a cent left, maybe a half at the time. And the city of Graham, I think, intervened there and took the rest of that.
look, the city of Graham can't collect hotel motel tax at the Wildcat.
There's a total amount of tax, hotel motel tax that's allowed in the county,
In the county.
in the whole county.
And the city can take up the entire county amount.
I think when that level is reached, then we don't have any room. It's kind of like sales tax thing. We don't have any more room for sales tax either. We're at 5%, and that's it.
But right now, the city is not collecting anything from the Wildcat.
On what?
The Wildcat.
There's no, I don't think they'll.
So there is no hotel motel tax in the Wildcat. And if we could somehow tap that.
We'll look into that.
Okay. Ms. Skipper and I had talked before about this, and she thinks it's a great deal that it wouldn't affect her bringing those rooms at all, because people everywhere used to pay those kinds of fees and taxes for those rooms. They would have some down around the lake that stocks all.
It's been an item before that we've discussed in years past.
This is something we'd like to discuss.
Very well, we'll look into that. That works for me.
Where did most of the applicants come?
Sir?
What source did most of the applicants come from? Did any of them come from the parks?
Palo Pinto County, Wichita County, you know, we had a few here in Young County, one from Lubbock. One in Lubbock.
But my deal is a lot of them come from the webpage that was sent out of the parks.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, that's what I was thinking. I mean, if we put out an ad for Dallas paper, Wichita paper, we might get something a little more.
It's
That's-
possible.
I mean, we're gonna pay a little bit, but if you gotta pay a little bit,
The thing about it is, if we're coming in on the off-season of it anyway, so it's not gonna be anything. The mowing should be diminishing pretty quick.
we can get the sheriff's office help us out with that.
But there shouldn't be much left,
Yeah.
because if they go to December, then it shouldn't be no more left after that.
No, I think you're right. And that's one of the reasons that
I don't know
many,
what I need to review.
You're talking about Fort Worth and Dallas, or Wichita Falls, you're talking about quite a bit more money.
Yes.
This was posted, or it was advertised in Graham, Colony paper, and it was posted on Texas Forest Trail website. Was it anywhere else? We put that in?
Does Fort Belknap have a social media page?
not that I'm aware of, they've had it times
County
past.
history page,
Yeah, they've had it times past, but not that I know of.
because you could share that page with other areas of interest, trying to get certain people there.
There's just so much time to lowly preachers day.
Worry about it.
I don't mind extending it. I don't know how far we want pretty expensive for the patients.
Well, and let me just say this, just as an,
It might be worth it.
just as a suggestion, if you want to, if you feel like that it's too expensive to go to Wichita or Fort Worth, Dallas, you know, one of our fears is, and I'll share this with you, if we do put it in Fort Worth, Dallas, Wichita, all of a sudden we could have 800 applications, and we don't want to do that either. You know, we're just wondering if we couldn't, when we say extended, what do you think about maybe reissuing it in the Graham and Albany and Texas Sports Page and maybe Wichita Falls?
I mean, that'd be cool.
Let's get, we can all go there.
Or Abilene, or Abilene. And here's the reason why. We really want people we feel like it would be regional. You know, because our fear is if you go to Dallas Fort Worth, well, you know, it is what it is. I mean, but we feel like that there's a regional. We want people who don't want to come to Fort Belknap just to find a position. We want to find people who love Fort Belknap and want to stay. Rita Mitchell's were an unusual situation. Her mother lived across the street, so she was going to take care of them anyway, and some to some degree. But you know, just the mowing and the tree trimming on all of those rigor things, I think is really what got Jim Mitchell to the point where he just says, "I'm done." And one of those instances with the reunion and alcoholic beverages and things like that, I think that was another contributing factor. But you know, one of the things the committee also suggested, I might make mention of this, is either the caretakers need to take the reservations for Fort Belknap or the county judge needs to take the reservations, but not both of them. And really in some ways, maybe taking reservations ought to go through the county judge and not the caretakers because, you know, there are extenuating circumstances. Maybe they had a bad experience with one of the people in the reunion and they're going to be not so excited to have them come back. Same thing in relationship to, I don't know, that maybe the caretakers may need to write up a one-page form. Here's how this group behaved at Fort Belknap. You know, here's some struggles we might have had with them. Here's some problems we might have had with them. They were the greatest people. We'd like to have them back every year. You know, both groups of caretakers expressed problems that they had had with reunion individuals. You know, tore up things, just difficulty. You know, it says 10 o'clock, all, no, you're supposed to be quiet, I guess there's a quiet time, and sometimes that goes to 11 or 12 or whatever. And it's a difficult situation. I mean, I think you guys all understand. Being a caretaker at Fort Belknap is just a difficult situation. It's just a difficult thing, because you're out in the middle of nowhere. I mean, literally.
Do you think the way that employment circumstances are with the supervisor and assistant, or do you think that structure needs to change any with regard to money? You know, we kind of have that set as a individual salary divided by two, so the benefits extend each.
Yeah. You know, we didn't see any problem with that. In fact, we felt like that once we looked at the budget that the Commissioner's Court had set up for the caretaker's position, that was pretty lucrative as far as we were concerned. I mean, by the time you throw everything together, it's pretty big money to me. It was to us, it was everybody in the committee that saw it as big money. So we didn't see anything that needed to be changed in that regard. We were very happy with that.
What's the average age you got?
How old are you?
64.
I'm 61, so most of them are in their 50s, 55, 56, up to 60s.
Oh, we had some in their 20s.
Oh yeah, we had one in
We
their
had one
20s.
couple that's
Yeah.
20s.
We had one couple of their 20s.
So we're talking about longevity of someone that you hired.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm not being prejudicial against older people, but obviously their health won't last as long as, of course, injury, disease.
You know, it's one of these things with the caretaker position, in my opinion. How many of you guys got grandkids? Okay. How many of you like to go see your grandkids on the weekend? Anytime you have an opportunity, that's the problem with those guys our age, those individuals our age. Late 50s, 60s, and above. They've got grandkids, they want to go see grandkids, they want to be around grandkids. applicants.
Right now, that's a real problem.
Well, yeah, you cheat.
They're always over there.
You cheat. But, and then there's another problem with those that are in their 20s because they've got young children. And,
And I said,
football, basketball, baseball, the shamir. I mean,
and with them in their 20s, and I'm not being age discriminatory, but how long are they really going to stay?
Yeah.
Probably going to fit.
well, I was going to say that's the problem that we're into anyway because this is a bubble society, and I can almost guarantee that everybody that we have, the question is, how long will they stay? How long will our newspaper editors stay? How long will XYZ stay? Who knows? I mean, who knows? You got to go for the best, and just as a committee, we'd like to not do this again in 18 months.
Do most of these people understand that it's a caretaker job?
Well,
Includes maintenance that's.
to be honest with you, that's a good question. Every one of the applicants was given the job description and they were given the budget. And so they know whatever that job description tells them. Now, if they pass the application hurdle and they go to the interview hurdle, then that's when we get to spend time talking to them and telling them what Fort Belknap caretaker really is. Because the job description is one-dimensional. But when you get Judy Mitchell in there and she's talking to you about what she did for the last 13 years, it takes on a whole new flavor of things. Because my personal opinion is that some of our applicants may feel like that what the caretaker job is that they sit in their house and they watch Fort Belknap. Yeah. Because we have some individuals in the second group that we'll look at the next time we meet that don't fulfill the criteria that's been laid out just because of extenuating circumstances. And I think if they felt like all they had to do was sit at Fort Belknap and watch and make sure that nobody tears up anything or breaks anything, I think we'd all do that job. But there's a lot of maintenance involved with that facility. There's a lot of tree trimming and mowing.
Don't you have that spelled out in the application? And they know the work hours?
Yeah,
and all
yeah,
that,
yeah.
and you've already got applicants
Yeah.
on file,
Yeah,
but you want to go ahead and extend the date.
if it's
And
possible.
therefore, when you extend the date, then we're gonna be without somebody else.
Right. I understand. Yeah, I understand. And, really, to be honest with you, it's really up to y'all. I mean, it's just a suggestion from the committee.
That's my concern. They know the work hours, they know what they get, the benefits.
Specific date. No, I'm not sure what their last date's going to be, but I thought it was going to be around the 1st of November, somewhere in November.
6 months from the time of their resignation.
Yeah, and it's really up to you guys. If you guys decide that, hey, let's just stay with the pool we've got, hey, as a committee, we'll abide by whatever your decision is. I mean, it's really up to you.
What did it cost us to
I'll talk to her.
put that out first time?
I don't know, I can go pull the bill and see, because we run it in Graham, Alney, and Breckenridge.
Well, I don't know if we might not have made it print in every one of those publications, but we can do it in every one of the
I
publications.
couldn't pull those bills.
That Graham newspaper holds
I don't
the
know.
whole lot in the area.
It'd probably give you a better deal.
Well, like I say, it's really up to you guys. I mean, if you guys feel like that we've got enough applications and it's time to move forward, it's your decision. It's just, that's the question that the committee wanted to ask you.
Well, our decision was to put you in position to interview those people and find us somebody that fits Fort Belknap.
Right?
So if your learned opinion is that we need to maybe go a little further and see if there's a more qualified, higher quality candidate, that the one we need may be already here. But
Very true.
you gotta understand that when you advertise a job like that, it's not always the person you hire that sees that ad. It's the hey, I saw an ad in the paper for something you may be interested in, so, you know.
Well,
I put it at the lake and in Wichita Falls and in Abilene, I think would be.
well, and let me just say this. There were 2 committee members that were not able to be at our meeting. But it was a unanimous decision of the committee that I can come and talk to you, commissioners, about what I've talked to you about today. It was a unanimous decision.
You know, that wouldn't be a problem to me as long as it's not a situation of trying to put off making a decision.
No, I don't think that's the issue. I don't think that's the issue at all, because all of us took our applications home, all of us have been going over those applications. You know,
Let's make it where we need to make some kind of decision by the last, commissioners court in November.
Well, I was just looking at my calendar, you got the last week in November, which is Thanksgiving. I almost wanted to say, take applications till maybe December the 5th.
But then they still have to look at it and come
Yeah.
back.
I know, that's one.
That's really
We
pushing
would
it
have hired
out
for the
there.
first year.
I'd like to get somebody, if we could,
You
in
would
place
shoot for the
by this
21st
sometime in
of November?
December.
21st of November? That's the third week.
well, here's the problem with that, in my opinion. It's gonna be hard for the committee to meet in December, just because the schedule is that.
You're looking at what we were at last October.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
So, I mean, if I'm waiting on it to do weeks,
No, we're looking at the last part of November,
that's what I'm saying. That's why I said the 21st.
the last part of November.
Yeah, the 21st is the third weekend, or the third Friday. Prior to the first week of December. No, I mean, they're gonna have to meet before Thanksgiving to give us something. I don't know.
We'll have the 21st.
You ain't gonna hire them by the first of December, that's what I'm saying.
Can you talk about the first Tuesday of December? First Monday?
It's like y'all,
I get that.
number one, the applicants you're gonna get is gonna be narrowed down quick. You're gonna go through the process of finding out the background before you ever goes to the committee.
Can we?
Actually, that's not the way we did it.
It's not the way you do
No,
it.
and here's the reason why.
Hang on, Norm.
She did your screening. Okay.
Can we take a 5-minute, 2-minute break, and let me get over to Becky and find out when our last day's gonna be before we make a decision? Does that work for y'all?
I understood it's December.
Well, let me make sure.
Yeah.
Let me call her
Okay.
and find out. Let's go 10-minute recess.
Okay, we'll recess. 10 minutes.
$100 a day.
Okay, we're back in session. It's 15 minutes to 11. We were discussing the word bell now, took a little break.
31st of December is gonna be their last day. So I would almost say, this will actually be a motion that we extend or we continue to take applications until the 14th of November, which that'll give us 3 weeks now. And as soon as Cheryl can get it done, we put it in the Abilene, Wichita, and Graham.
And that grant certification, I think that included all of the local publications that they have here in the area.
So the 14th on a Friday.
Graham, Olney, Breckenridge, Jacksboro, Wichita, and Abilene.
You as a committee, can y'all meet in December?
Yeah, I was gonna say, probably what'll happen if it's on the 14th, then the county auditor's office will look at those applications on Monday and do the pre-screening. And I'll come by and pick them up on Tuesday, and then we'll have a meeting on Thursday. And,
That work good?
yeah, we'll go on high speed then.
Is that enough time?
Yeah, that's plenty of time. Yeah, I think so.
I'll second that motion.
Amy?
Can I ask something?
Yes, sir.
In the screening process, is there some point at which there is request for a full criminal history to be run?
Credit history?
Or criminal history?
Yes, that's what the pre-screening is. Pre-screening is a criminal history. And what happens with the pre-screening, what happens with that is that information is not on the application. If that applicant comes to the top of our SIP list, and I come back to the county auditor's office and say, Problems are clean. And if she says problems, that's a notation we make, and then it goes back to the city.
And those reports are not reproduced and distributed.
That's
at
correct.
all.
That's correct. Yeah, only the county auditor,
And it's very important to be
Yeah.
done.
only the county auditor has that information, we don't have it. And, that's what we've chosen to do.
I know a company that does pre-screen and all that stuff, but I that's myself, and I can't do that. But I can get a lot more stuff than what she can get.
November 14th at 4 o'clock in the auditor's office.
That's good.
What time?
Or
We got that motion down?
November 14th, December 14th.
November.
We've got a motion by Commissioner, second by Wiley, to extend the application, deadline for Fort Belknap caretakers, to November the 14th at 4 p.m. Be turned into the auditor's office. Anything else we need in there? Oh, we're also going to, add, Wichita Falls,
And
Times Record News, and Abilene reports, I believe that's right. Do that.
What are we taking the applications till?
They have to be turned in the auditor's office 4 p.m. on November the 14th. All in favor? Carried. Also, I think, Norman will bring us some recommendations
I will.
on some of those issues that you brought up.
I will.
Regarding time off, rule changes or anything like that, that the committee thinks we need to address. Okay, thank you very much. Now let's go to the, county treasurer's financial report.
Nothing, we still have all the years, both years open.
Okay,
It's balanced, but it's not ready to close.
okay, no action today. Item number 6, county auditor's budget amendments, and also item 7, vouchers.
Okay. No, sir. Jan, I have, Ann said we're paying still a little bit out of 14, a little bit out of 15. I'm still paying some of the commissioners, budget money in there out of y'all's 14. The total for 14 is $64,394.30, and of that, $3,182.84 is out of the general. So the rest is out of a little bit out of law library and then the commissioner's budget.
That's 2014.
That was 14. On 15, total of $81,662.20, and of that, out of the general is $48,129.33.
So moved on vouchers 14 and fiscal year 15.
Have you now?
Yes, sir.
We have a motion and a second, a motion from Commissioner Wiley, second from Commissioner Pruitt to approve those vouchers payable as presented for the fiscal year 2014 and for the fiscal year 2015. All in favor? Carried.
I have a few more things, and none of it's insurance, so y'all can, we're good in insurance right now today. So, I had received a voucher reimbursement, and did for reimbursing Sarah Brashears, who's a member of the Historical Commission, for some of her training out of the historical budget that we have, for training in Corinth, Texas, and Louisville, Texas, in the total of $229.35. And I think there's a little over $90,000 in
Right,
that.
we've never gone through Commissioner's Court to approve historical, but Judge Wilk and I decided
It should
it
be.
should be.
And it's, I mean, we get it, and we can tell them what the money is in there, but for her reimbursement for these two schools is $229.35.
What kind of schools?
Who she
Well,
required?
that was just the mileage. It was, historic buildings, looking at them, assessing them, and some other technical classifications on them. Yeah.
Preserve local.
We have a new group that's starting to be active. So the four of them took the score, just two were asking, they wrote together and asking for reimbursement for mileage.
Expenses, I guess you would say. And,
Just mileage.
I don't know if there's any tuition or anything like that.
We already-
No.
Must not be, I mean, we're just.
Well, we already paid it.
Oh, well,
It was $10 a piece or $40 a piece or something.
Okay.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Wilder. Second by Commissioner Sines. To approve the, travel reimbursements to Sarah Shears for training with regard to the Young County Historical Commission. All right. Carried.
I have a request for payment of a registration for, what will be our newly elected county attorney to attend an elected prosecutor conference that begins December 3rd. The registration is $350. He said that there'll be mileage on hotel meal expense later, but he said he'd pay that, come back and ask for reimbursement then. But the school is the 3rd through the 5th, $350
Located.
in Austin.
There's money in, line item.
Yes, it'll be out of the county attorney education.
So moved.
Question, why don't we come up with everybody else?
What?
I mean.
I asked
go to the
him,
conference,
yes, I asked him if he wanted, I said, well, you know, I could bring those expenses to court since he's not in office yet. And he said, you know, he would just as soon as we can go ahead and pay the registration, just as soon bring them back and get them.
So it'll be reimbursed for actual expenses rather than estimated?
Now, it'll be the same thing, it'll be per diem, it'll be mileage, but it will, you know, the hotel, and we usually get the exact hotel amount anyway, so. But he said he'd just bring it and ask for, and you know, I'll probably have, some more because there's some other newly elected, for some of them coming into office. And I asked them about that, and they said that they would give those to me when it comes up.
That's not done, you can request it, as long as we've done that.
Yes, sir, because they're
Those are the days on there.
December 3rd through 5th.
Jenny, you want to do something?
Yes, I think there's something for, Jenny Land and for Cape Hardin Morning. And I'll have those hopefully next time to.
Okay. Got a first and a second.
Let me see if I can take up as much time as Norman did.
Motion by Commissioner Wilder, second by Commissioner Rogers.
This game.
Approve such expenditure for incoming attorney.
What's that?
All in favor?
And I don't know, maybe you know more, there's a guard line over where the old jail used to be. See, she was charging us for a guard line over there, and I
Yeah.
assume there's still one over there that
There's-
lights up.
There's one that's tall on this corner right here.
Is it close to the shelf, I guess, to?
No, yeah, there's one, yeah, there is one right on the shelter, yes.
It's $31.71 a month, and when we've been taking out the old jail budget, which we don't have anymore, so do we want to keep paying for this guard line, and I guess we can charge it to the courthouse if we want to keep that guard line out there?
That don't make sense because there are lights out there along the edge, but those belong to the city.
One of them's ours.
Did we cut those loose?
Yes, we did.
Maybe it's not working.
I say
but it's
do away
ours.
with it myself.
The rent goes on, whether it works or not?
Yeah, I guess, yeah, because they're just charging
I
us.
say do away with it.
And we sure did find some now.
I can,
My guard lights up there at my shop are out. They charge you again, and they charge you a monthly service to come.
to come out and check
They're
them out.
nuts. And it's crazy.
Because how much did I tell you? She told me it was
$350?
they could charge up to
To fix it.
$350.
To fix it.
Almost would shit in the phone myself.
To fix it.
You're good.
They charge you to fix the lights.
Well,
Change the bulb.
Is that all, they change that?
We'll do it. Really?
Is that theirs or is that yours?
There's theirs.
They should charge you nothing for that, if that's theirs.
She said they could charge from $149 to $350
Yeah.
for just checking it out. And I said, well, let me talk to him. And he's having J&J come out anyway and do some other. Sure.
You can buy one for $75.
I'll shoot you a call.
He told me.
Yeah.
Anyway, so you can have this canceled,
Yes,
guard light canceled.
yes.
I can do
Don't
that.
need no more.
We will pay, we have this bill from the month previous one, I'll just pay it out of non-department. So we'll get rid of it and I'll call cancel
You
it.
drop the wires, then we'll do most of it.
They'll learn away.
Unless y'all have anything else, right now, I'll be back. Oh, I did move the 60,000 into the insurance, and so far we're doing real well. I think we've got 30 in there now. The check run last Friday was only, I'm not gonna brag, because $5,900 last Friday. So that was almost a record.
It's always calm before the storm.
Yeah, and then this week we'll put the money that was the 80,000 that we take out of the budget into there. But then we'll say
This
premiums,
will be the first one to have.
the big, and it's 80,000 or something, I think.
Easy.
Oh, was it?
A little heart attacks, these days.
Okay, just, I'm saying with the court, they're gonna order the disconnect on the
Yes,
line.
I'll call it in today.
Okay, item number 10. Consider change of telephone service provider from AT&T to Fire Communications. Eric will come address that a little bit.
I can and I will. This is more or less rolling over the telephone service the same way we had with the courthouse at the sheriff's office. We received a bill for about $2,100. So I spoke to the sheriff. The sheriff said, whatever saves money, go right ahead. So this is a letter of authorization to start the rollover. So our telephone system's in place. To accept something like this, we just have to have a line brought in from AT&T to supply, which is, it's odd. We're getting away from AT&T, but essentially that's the service that they use to power the voice over IP, and then we'll look at considerably lowering our telephone bill.
Is there any cost to this?
Yep. It's like it was before. It's not a binding contract that goes for any amount of time. It's just simply allowing us to roll the lines over to.
Did you research these people and find out if everything's legit with them, like Sop said, that sometimes you get what you pay for? Cheap's not always good.
What's up? We have Webfire service here at the courthouse.
Flipfire's been around for
30 years.
Yeah.
Crown's 1 year old.
Yeah, this is
issues.
yeah. We actually, the judge and I talked about that, about having these issues back to back on the agenda. This has nothing to do with inmate telephone. This is actually just regular long distance local service.
Why are they able to provide it
Cheaper.
Just cheaper.
It's a completely different way of providing telephone service. Instead of having the old ancient lines that AT&T's having to pay year after year to update and maintain, this is based solely across the internet, so
What's that going to do to directory publication and that kind of thing?
shouldn't change a thing.
411 will still work.
What are you paying now? What were you looking to see?
Right now, we're looking at, on average, that bill goes from 900 to, no, the phone.
I know, it just keeps going up and up, and I don't understand why.
A lot of it's based on long distance, which is difficult to rate, especially when we have something like dispatch who's making phone calls and things of that nature. So with Webfire, we actually have a package deal that gives us X amount of minutes for a set price, which once we get the
What happens in an emergency situation if a fire goes down? Will the phone still work at 911?
there's still pot lines that'll actually kick in that allows phones to go in and out.
That's a good question.
Because we've talked about this before with 911.
Because we've had web fire go down here in the courthouse,
Right.
where there are all of our phones. we go-
With 911, there's a different provision that allows for things like that.
Is 911 going to be trunked over to this voice over IP as well, or will it be a separate?
From the way that the trunk lines are run to the building, technically they'll be separate as far as 911 goes. Those lines won't be transferred over.
So I'm sorry, you said 900 a month?
I mean, honestly, it ranges, but
Oh, I can afford to see it, just,
it ranges month to month, but on average, we're looking at over $1,000 for long distance alone, not just local service.
That's what you're currently doing.
Right. And so doing something like this for the entire courthouse, we swapped over,
yeah.
and we're paying.
I don't think we even use up all of the long distance that we're allowed.
Right.
Yeah, so
Wow.
that saved us, yeah.
What's the set figure for this addition?
We haven't discussed a set figure for it because it's going to take that first month to figure out an average use of long distance minutes. What we like to do, what we started out doing here was we set a certain amount, and then they actually customized with additional. I think we went an additional 150 minutes just to cover us in the event of any overture. So we're looking at reducing the bill on average around $300 to $400 a month on a good month of $800. So
Adult probation's bill was going up and up, and they did this, but a month or so, 2 months ago. And, so I mean, already, they should be seeing the same there. I haven't seen that bill come in.
right, but their average long distance bill was about $400, and now their total bill is right around $149, $150.
That's it. Yes.
It's considerably cheaper. You just have a whole lot less to maintain. So where AT&T's overhead is quite substantial, when you go voice over IP, it changes the technology altogether.
I'll make a motion to go ahead and go with it as long as it doesn't cause any problems in the future.
Right.
We look at it. We'll maintain it like it's supposed to. Try.
Normally the rollover takes, it's depending upon an install line of the T1, but on average it takes between 7 and 14 days for rollover. Because AT&T has to technically release the numbers and they're go through a process of porting where Webfire actually ports the numbers over and we inject the system.
So Commissioner Lab's question is 7 to 14 days from that.
Thank you, Jim.
We've got a couple of Wiley and second by Mr. Pruitt to authorize issuance of a letter of authorization for Webfire Communications to roll over our telephone service at Young 315 North Cliff Drive, Young County Sheriff's Office. All in favor? Okay, now the next issue is on 11. Consider inmate phone contract with Crown Correctional Telephone Incorporated. This is something that jumped up on surprise and surprise fashion. I think that for the last 5 years we've probably been operating on a non-valid contract. That contract was for 5 years, which I suppose is expired. I don't know for sure if we're already rolled up with this or not.
I don't know, the letter I had said that it would be moved, this new one would start October 3rd. If Dar's here to talk about that, Ken's here, so.
Yes, no, ocean contract, for Crown Correctional Telephone Incorporated, and we have the old for
There's a copy here.
securities we were operating on. All the expired, those stuff there, all the revenue that comes from that sheriff, correct, all the revenue from that will be the jail development.
That's what goes into jail development, which
And Do you have the numbers on the previous contract?
Is that the old one? So this has a date on it, it's 10/3/07 is what the date is, the old one went out.
So I guess a year after that, so we'll go away. Yeah, we're online, it's a better service than our 7-month, and, they also gave us $15,000 in prepaid phone cards for inmates use, so it's money in our pockets as well.
What kind of fee for that goes into the jail development?
I couldn't answer. Well, 50% of the commissions on that come,
Excuse me?
50% of the commissions on calls that are made is at jail.
And they range from, they used to be real small, and now that we have the women move out there, they're about between 1,500 and 2,000 a month, give or take a few hundred.
So the new one is 50%, that old one was less than that, I thought it was like 30, I thought it was 30% of the profit.
Yeah, that should be quite a
It
bit.
went down to 28. That was 30%. It's going down to 30.
On this 50%, it's just the full length of the contract.
Well, it changes.
60 months.
It's a 5-year contract.
If it lasts 6 months, then that would be good. The only other thing I see is that upon the use, I see Crown discount after you use it for $14,904 with cards. It's a give up front. Then it goes down to 35%.
Right, because what happens is, we purchase the cards.
Yes.
For the inmates, and, but still that 35% is much more than what we were getting with Securus. We buy on that 35%.
So you go, that's what the machine out in the lobby is for.
That was with Securus.
That's with Securus.
Yeah, this company actually doesn't have one. We have it online and print it out.
So that machine in there is going away.
Right, that should have been part of the equipment that Securus picked up.
Okay.
And collected their phones, but they're yet to kind of get there.
So those 5 phone card like commissary or whatever.
Right, they got it off the commissary, and then we print them out, and then they come to the lobby and buy those.
May I suggest that they make sure they send the checks to us, because years ago, they sat around and it was 3 or 4 months sometime before we received Securus checks because they get lost in the shuffle. Then we had them where they sent them directly to my office. It worked out much better. We got them on
And
Christmas.
you just put it back.
It needs to be like.
That's good.
Yeah. Well, in the past, they weren't, we had them change it, so just make sure the contract it says develop us, not the sheriff's department.
Okay, that means that, $7,200 is gonna go in the jail development fund on the issues of the contract.
No, you got to use those cards first. Before it's
As you,
It's as used, the commission is based on when those calls.
They'll give you the cards to go ahead and sell them.
Right.
Then you have to use the card, as those inmates use the cards up, then that money goes
That's
to
where
the
the commission
commissary.
comes
Yes,
oh, they're going,
I'm the commissary, but they'll go. Then after those cards are used up, then you go to 35%.
35% we start purchasing.
Oh, I see what you're saying, the money that inmates purchase them with, that goes to the commissary?
Right.
No, it goes to jail development.
Now, that goes to the commissary. The money that the inmates use to purchase the cars. that
Yes,
goes to
because
the
they sell the
Oh,
cards in the
okay, yeah.
commissary, that does go to
Then when they make the phone calls, that goes.
The
Right,
treasurer
all-
goes to
right, All
us.
of that goes to jail.
So they're paying for the card, then they're paying for the phone call?
Yeah.
The card's not preloaded with phone calls?
It is.
It
but-
is.
But when they make the telephone call, there's a commission within that telephone call, and that's where
Yeah.
the money for jail.
Up to twice.
It may cost them $10 to purchase that card, that goes to the commissary. Then when they're making the phone calls, it may
Well, I
cost.
think what they're doing, they're peeling the time off the
You-
card and giving us 50% on what
Right.
they peel off. Yeah, the card is prepaid. They don't pay again for the phone call, but they do pay us for commission once it's used.
Right.
I mean, it may cost them $1 a minute, let's just say, that $1 a minute goes
So
to.
you use the card,
Jail
they'll use the card.
50%.
No, I'm saying where it goes. That $1 would go into jail development.
Right.
With no reductions.
But it ain't good $1 a minute. It's either, what, $3.50?
Well, no, these cards are better.
actually get, 2 or 3 15-minute homes, you know, they used to $10 card, whereas before they used to have a fee for the call, whether
Right.
or not.
Exactly.
And then, you know, the actual call themselves.
So in the past for Securus, did we have to pay for the call?
Yes, we always.
So, oh, okay, so now we're gonna get $1,500 worth of free cards and not have to pay for those, so actually the commissary will have some more money.
Until those are gone.
Then we get 35% of
Right.
that card.
Which is still more than what we're getting.
Right, exactly.
Our purchase under 35%.
Exactly.
And when the cards are purchased, that money goes where?
To the commissary account. Purchasing price.
How do we pay them for the card?
We don't, they're giving them.
Once we get past the.
Well, one, no,
They'll pay for it now.
They take
I
our
write a
money.
check on the commissary for the cards themselves. Always have.
Once we use it.
Paid out of commissary. Right.
Yes.
Right. The beauty of the Crown is that, you know, Securus, when it comes to telephone calls, they're only, their system records and keeps them for 1 year. With Crown, it's for,
And let me ask you something, would that sure been good at this last trial we had?
it would have solved.
It would have sunk him hard.
It would have solved it.
So, that's what it was.
Okay, you're gonna buy $100 cards for you, so that you can sell them.
Yes.
How much, how many do you gotta buy?
Well, there's no, normally 100. We used to give them 10 and 20 increments, but now it's, everything's $10. So, we buy 100 to 200 cards.
You got that money in your account.
Commissary account. I think it goes right back in there.
You got that money in your account for a block card. Yes.
Plus they'll have the free money in there as backup, so when they have to start purchasing, you're really using the same money you charged that we bought back in there before they
Just
were.
not worse than it's
Right, right.
What kind of expenses does the commissary have in their own revenue generate?
They pay the
What kind of
taxes.
expenses does
They pay
the
sales
commissary
taxes.
have that don't generate revenue?
Well, you know.
So-
So you're not likely to run out of money in that county?
So it's already purchased.
Because commissary,
Well, when it comes to
candy bars.
One thing is, you write $2,000 check on the card, we don't have $2,000.
Oh, no, that's all.
Like, please.
Betty and everything come on, all come out of supplies. Commissary, everything's uniforms.
Those are expenses.
Is everything that's sold out there generates some revenue for the county?
It's sold out of commissary.
For the jail?
Because the commissary company shows us, gives us a percentage of whatever we.
So rather than market, you're getting efficiency, so.
Right. Key fee, that's the.
So the things in the commissary never really belong to the sheriff's office. They just if you're sold, we get commission for selling.
And the only thing Securus will actually get down there is their card system with the card. If you're on the telephone.
Did they give you a reimbursement for any cards and stuff?
No, they did not. I attempted to do that. They would not. Still had about 750 cards left. There's no reimbursements. I'm looking to see if there's other, if they can be used by some of the other jails that are actually on the secure
Does
system.
it have expiration dates on it?
Well, I think
If
that
you can find somebody else to sell to, it'd be
Well, that's still right.
Right, right, yeah.
That's a discount rate.
Sure.
I mean, it sounds like a good deal.
Don't tell $750 doesn't do that good.
No, but they sell them to another jail.
But you can
They
check.
get part of it back.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly right, that's what we're saying. You find a place to go.
Right, that's what I'm attempting to do.
You can check with your 911 lady down and see if Jacksboro has that same.
I'll make that motion. We accept that.
I'll second it.
Motion by Commissioner Pruitt, second by Commissioner Sines to enter into contract with Crown Director for inmate telephone use. Authorize signing that contract. All in favor? Carried.
I like to do a clean contract here.
Item number 12, I'll take a little bit of discussion. Do you have anything on put into this, North Release contract with American National Bank, prepaid one, working with asphalt super, payment to be split between 1, 2, and 4. Here's the issue that, has been discussed. Question is not on the side of the list. We don't want to do is get into a situation where tech stop, will request reimbursement. Lease payment for equipment is allowed to expenditure allowed for reimbursement. Sale of a piece of equipment is not. There's a question between tying those two aspects of the contract together. The lease purchase is an option buy, or lease contract is an option buy at the end.
I strictly lease mine. Guess what?
Yeah, we entered into a rental contract with Asphalt Zipper prior to any kind of purchase agreement. So the only thing that we got from them was an invoice to us for our C-Turf projects for a rental of that piece of equipment. We then negotiated the purchase of used equipment after we had done through with it from them. So we've got 2 separate agreements. We do not have any lease purchase agreement on that piece of equipment.
You address that?
Well, that's what we're talking about today, is doing the lease purchase, split the payments between the 3 precincts. It'd be at the end of the term, it'd be a $1 buyout to have that equipment.
This is
American National Leasing.
This is strange for me to do it, but when you finance and buy a piece of equipment, I always look at it as a note on the, you guys call it the lease purchase. But this has anything to do with the C-Turf projects, the lease purchase of this contract here. It's separate and away from that. It says lease purchase, that's the way they're handling the financing to us and all of that. So the lease purchase ends up being 99 cents at the end of the
Correct.
of the term,
The purchase price was
139.
Well, what we basically did is like Mike Side rented at Lincoln Continental. And after he rented it, he's like, I like this car, he wants to buy it. That's exactly what we did. Okay.
And the reason that, you know, because that's about going out for bids, they're a member of the Houston Galveston Area Council, and every county is automatically a member of that, so buying it through that is just like buying it through Bible.
Yeah, we understood that when we entered into it. Plus, it's kind of a specialized piece of equipment too. We want to buy a piece of equipment that we can all share, that wasn't its own dedicated piece of equipment that'll fit on all of our equipment. That's the reason for the collaboration with the purchase of this thing.
Just like the chipper.
Just like the chipper.
That's fine. Brand new piece of gold.
Sir?
It's a brand new piece of gold.
About 180.
This will be,
Fairfax Light Industrial too.
Especially with the trailer and everything.
certainly, there's no connection between the rental of the equipment and the lease purchase of the equipment. We can be sure that those 2 aspects of the thing are completely
Those
separate.
are 2 separate transactions.
From one another.
You got a contract, right, please?
Yes, but,
No, you got an invoice in the lease.
yes,
The rental part.
yes, we paid that.
Yes, sorry.
I paid it out of y'all's budget.
And then that ended in August, 1st September. And we're now just entering into a purchase here in October.
Correct. We don't even mention anything about that.
You're just looking at the price of money.
Correct.
Guys, the question there, the lease purchase, it's bad reports, questions that come out, leases, equipment leases, and other contracts that exceed $50,000 must be submitted to that bid and address that part of it. Since the grant provisions do not allow reimbursement for equipment purchases, I would not utilize a lease purchase agreement for grant projects.
We did not, we had just pure rental agreement with them for 2 months and then.
Okay, if everybody's comfortable with that, I just want to make sure that we're not going to get in a situation where TxDOT's going to be asking us to come back.
If they they
Well,
do.
to get the excess money back, we'll be spending it elsewhere, so. State Texas only will pay us some money.
Purchase. They're great. American National, it's benefit.
Yes, he's got that contract.
Correct. And that was just signed for it. I'm not including this purchase. Difference for precincts 1 and 2 and 4.
5 years in.
5 years at 2.25.
Same.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Sykes, second by Commissioner Pruitt. To enter into a lease contract with lease purchase contract with American National Bank on asphalt delivery. And that to be fulfilled between precinct 1 through 4.
Just make sure it says American National Lease, not American National Bank.
It does say American National Bank.
Yeah, American National Leasing Corporation.
Don't leave it either.
No, sir.
I need to talk to you.
Thank you.
Note that correction on the agenda. That's American National Leasing Corporation. And not American National Bank. All in favor of that motion? Okay, carried. Question clarification, to make sure we did this on. Also, doesn't have to reimburse the next time. Okay, item number 13, fire subscriptions. Go ahead. Action there, let's see. So, I'll go. Lost it here. Do something.
You hear anything from Tom? You hear anything from Tom? He's here for Tom.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Sure. About that.
Is it no?
They didn't want to pay $2,000 for it.
It's too much.
Yeah.
We have enough money.
We've already got, our first offer was ready was $2,500. Consider $2,500, that's the offer. So we can't do it. So we're just gonna continue on trying to get a higher rate of
That's what I'm it's telling me about.
Back in plan,
You know what? Honestly,
I don't know where you go anywhere and buy a vehicle without.
no, only myself.
You can run, it runs good.
That's a good reason. It's just time out. I mean, that's.
not one that's paying $2,500 per car.
But there's a website. You can put that
Your
on.
business is
Our website, you should put that on.
But I think it needs to cost something.
It's not really all right.
Does that make sense?
Still get taxed. It's got taxed before. Well, it was not accident, this unloaded, it's not accident. Doing it to the way. Yeah, I don't know what. It's got.
Is the record for running so big? Please do that. 18 to the full prayer.
But.
Watch your talk.
James, what's that, Vernon means?
Six.
Six next week.
Next Thursday.